Alright guys, so we're just about to take the drive shaft unit itself off. As you can see here, you've got four 14mm bolts, 2 on the other side, 2 on this side. Now I've undone all of them, I've cracked them all, and I've undone them all so they're almost finger tight except this bottom one. And then I'm just going to undo that bottom one, and then it should pull out backwards. That's it, it's off. So there's the drive shaft and the final drive hub. There's the wheel. This is the whole reason I was changing it, look, because I'm in the centre there. I'm down to below 1mm. It is squared off quite a bit as well. So yeah, and that's the remainder of the bike, what's left of it after I've took it off. So the next job for me, guys, is going to be a bit of a clean up here, and then I'm going to go and start attacking that swing arm, rubbing it down, wire brushing it, and then it's paint. Might as well, while it's all off, clean everything up. Safety first, guys, make sure it's all fastened down. I think it was a good tip fastening the front wheel to the centre stand, because you are putting a bit of force on it sometimes, and if you're pushing that bike forward and she rolls off that centre stand, you're sat at the back end of it. Then you don't want a 250 kilo motorbike sat on top of you, and if you're out like me, you're working on your own, it'd be an absolute bitch to get it back up again. Dirt wise, not that dirty. Dirty gloves, you have to keep changing your gloves and what have you, but actually on the floor it's not too bad. Basic tools, sockets, spanners, pry bars. Like I said, one bolt made me get the windy gun out. Other than that, it was alright. In the process, as you can see by the pile of rust I've got on the floor, of cleaning my rear swing arm, ready to paint it all up again. I've got the thick of it off. It's in good nick, to be honest. I thought that there may have been a hole in it, but in fairness there's not. It was just very scabby, very rusty. So I wire brushed it all. Just got to clean it off a bit. Wire brushed it all. Then I'm going to Q rust it. Then I'm going to red lead it, red oxide paint, and then it's getting the old trusty black hammerite. So easy job. Once the back wheel's off, all it is time consuming. With furlough and COVID, it's all we've got is time in it. So it's a good opportunity to have a good clean up under the arches as well. I'll give that a good scrub off now before I start painting anything. And then I've still got the caliper to sort out. And then just wait for my new tyre to come. I can start the rebuilding. But yeah, all good, guys. It isn't hard. It really isn't. I was a bit dubious myself, especially since I can't find a Haynes manual at the moment. I thought it was going to be harder than what it was. It's not too bad at all, guys. It really isn't. It's a few bolts, some's tighter than others. A few bolts, sorted out. It's certainly nothing to be scared of. Once you made sure that your bike's not going to fall over, that is. So I was working underneath it, and I have been right underneath it with a wire brush and what have you. But yeah, once you've worked out that the bike's stable and it ain't going to fall, it's really fairly easy, guys. I did get a quote from a garage to remove and replace a tyre. That's not even supplying the tyre, just remove and replace it and service the rear caliper, and they wanted over 250 quid. £250 is a lot of money, and I suppose if I sorted my shit out and get on with it, I could do it in a day easily. But I'm just taking my time. I'm in no rush. Keep stopping for tea breaks, filming it, which always takes time. If anyone's ever filmed themselves doing it, good God, it adds another 3-4 hours to the job, but it is what it is. Yeah, so don't be scared of this, guys. If you think, oh, I need to take my back wheel off to get a new tyre on, or I don't know when my splines were lubed up last, well, have a go yourself, guys. It's not hard at all. It really isn't. I'm actually really surprised how easy it is with a shaft drive. I know with chains it's a little bit more awkward. I've done chains before, but I say first time with a shaft. Mind you, I haven't put it together yet. Lining the shafts up again might be a different ball game altogether, but so far taking it apart, no problems at all. Right, so the next job, guys, I'm going to get a normal stiff sweeping brush, hand brush. I'm going to sweep all the inside of the arches out, inside of the wheel arch and everything. I'm going to sweep all that out, and then I'm going to get on with the Q rust and what have you. Right guys, so just a normal household sweeping brush, and I'm just going to start sweeping some of this stuff away. Let's move you out the way, otherwise you're going to get covered. Yeah, it's alright to be there. Anyway, I don't know if you can see it in the light, but you can see where I've rubbed all the paint off. It's all free from contaminants now. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is use a product called Q rust. I don't know if any of you guys have ever come across this before, and it converts rust. Now it says on here, ensure service is clean, shake container well, pour the amount required into a plastic container. So, said plastic container. Now, I don't know if you can see that, guys, it's like a milky substance. Now what's supposed to happen is that when I paint this on, it's supposed to turn almost black purple once it's dry. So just with a little 1-inch paintbrush, all you have to do is liberally coat any of the bare metal areas. There's quite a few of them. Now I've rubbed it all off. Try and avoid the painted areas, it says, and stipple it as opposed to paint it. I don't know how long it takes to go off, but if you could see, you'd see that it goes on like white, like so, and then as it dries like a purpley black colour. It's already starting to turn. Hopefully this should stop any more corrosion coming. It should be all good. And that, guys, is about that. Doesn't feel very nice on your hands, I know that. Right, so we just leave that to dry now, guys. But if you can see that, guys, without me getting paint all over my camera, yeah, maybe I should have wore gloves for that bit, look. Purple hands. Yeah, so like I said, guys, that's supposed to dry off. Not supposed to take long, 20 minutes or something. And then it'll be like a purpley black colour. And that should stop anything rusting. It turns surface rust back into normal metal again, apparently so. So, we'll see. The next gig is red oxide primer. Used to use this when I was at sea in the Navy. Just to paint a lot of things red oxide. And if it works at sea, it's going to work on land. So as you can see now, it's all been replaced with nice black rust-free metal. Not replaced, the Q rust has done its thing and it's all back to black. So that should stop it rusting anymore in the future. Alright then, guys, there's first coat. I think I might give it a couple of coats of red oxide just to be on the safe side, but worth doing, because I'd rather do this than have to refit a new swing arm. So yeah. Alright guys, so as you can see from yesterday then, we painted up the swing arm in red oxide, red lead, whatever you want to call it. Chipped all the rust off, all the flaky paint, and that's had a good dry overnight now, ready for a coat of black when we get round to it. So today's job, I'm going to service this caliper, brake caliper. You can see the piston there and all the slide bolts, etc. they're all gopping, so I'm going to give this a good clean this morning, and then we'll go from there. Once we've got that cleaned, cleaned, greased up again, we will then paint the swing arm. We've got a lovely coat of black hammerite to go on it. So with the Q-Rust on, the red oxide primer, 2 coats, and the black hammerite, that should be good for quite a few years to come. Right guys, so I've pressed the piston out as far as it can go, and I just put a pad in there like so to stop it coming all the way out. I've got a little bit of wire wool, and I'm just going around that piston now. There is a seal inside there guys, so just watch that seal, and don't forget it is still connected to the hose, so just be a little bit canny, different gun daft on it, you know. I suppose the best way to do this really would be to maybe take it off, undo that banjo there and take that out, but then you start losing brake fluid, and I don't really want to do that. Right, so I think I've kind of got the thick off with that. This is 80 grit sandpaper. Just going to make myself a little rubbing thing. And I'm just going to go around with the sandpaper and just rub that piston clean. Again, mind you watch that rubber seal guys. To get this pin out, it looks like it knocks through. Pin that holds the pads in the end of it, you've got a little like grub screw type thing. Alright, so just a little flathead screwdriver, look. And that takes that out. Don't lose it, otherwise you'll be in a world of pain. And then, to get it out, one of them, I don't even know what it is, hex head number 5. So that should, I reckon, just come out, and it does lovely, look. So as you can see there, look, as you remove that, you can remove the pads. And then you've got your 2 pads out and your little pin, look, and that little grubby bit just screws into the end of there. Excellent. So that gets that out. So we're going to push the piston back in at some stage. Dirty hands, should have put my gloves back on. I've got to push the piston back in, which means I've got to take this side cover off here to be able to open the filler cap, make it easier for the rear master cylinder. Now I might be able to get in from underneath actually and do it without taking the side panel off and the seat, but that has to come back all the way so I can push that piston back all the way back in. And then it's a case, guys, of cleaning all these up, and the 2 sliders that we took off yesterday that mounted to the frame, because that allowed the carrier to slide a little bit. Clean all them off, bit of wet and dry emery paper, grease them up, nice liberal coating of grease, making sure that you don't get any grease at all on the surface of the pads. Now I've got quite a bit of meat left on there, so I'm not replacing these pads, but I will give them a clean up on the back side, coat them in copper slip so that they don't squeal, and we've still got the anti-rattle pad in there as well, which we have to sort out. So right guys, so inside the side panel, you have to take the side panel off. Inside there you've got a reservoir for the rear brake. Just unscrew that. Carefully you don't drip any brake fluid anywhere. Shouldn't do though. And then have a look. The brake fluid should be nice and clean like that anyway. Yeah. But what we don't want to do is when we press that piston back in, is for the fluid to spill out. Any old clamp will do, just to squeeze that back together. This is the only one I could find, like I say, I've just moved house. It's not bad actually. While you're squeezing it back in, keep an eye on the reservoir. And then guys, so now we're going to clean up all the pads and pins and everything. So you can see the state of that pin, probably dirty. A little bit of sandpaper. Don't flatten it off, keep rotating it. and you can see on the sandpaper how much shit's coming off it. You can roll it around like that. Alright, so you don't need to watch me do that, guys. So just a example, that's one caliper, pad, sorry. You can see how grotty that is. And then this is one that I've cleaned up. Not perfect, but good enough. You can see the difference, look. Massive difference. So it definitely takes the time to clean these bolts up and these pads up. They all need greasing up. Now that one's actually got a little flat on it. That one there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a tiny little flat on the inside of that, which was totally covered with grease and oil and shit. They'll never work, guys, if they aren't clean. Right then, guys, so if we look at the mounting plate, a little bit grotty. I don't know if you can see down in there. That's pretty grotty in there. That's where one of your slide pins goes. So I don't know the best way to clean it, so I'm going to give it a bit of a squirt. Now just be careful you don't pierce the rubber doing it this way, guys. There's probably a better way to do it. The only thing is, I don't know it. So I'm just forcing some of the cloth in so I can give it a squill round. Look at that, guys. That was clean. That's all from just inside there. Accumulated grease and dirt and shit. You struggle to get to this when it's on the bike. Now I've cleaned it up, it's not too bad.